All right, welcome to week 6. This week we are continuing our discussion of chapter 4, and in particular addressing the issue of civil rights, which is roughly the last 18 pages of chapter 4. As I mentioned in the overview last week, civil liberties are constraints that are put on the exercise of the government's power over individuals. Civil rights, on the other hand, are claims on behalf of groups of people alleging that the government has in fact behaved in a discriminatory manner towards them based on some arbitrary feature of their identity, their racial or ethnic origins, their gender, their religious convictions, or their sexual orientation, among other types of distinctions. Um, the civil rights struggle is one of the more controversial aspects of America's legal history. And some conservatives have argued that civil rights claims are part of what has given rise to identity politics, in the sense that we are less Americans than that we are African Americans or Hispanic Americans or members of the LGBT community, and not sort of this broad spectrum of Americans. Police-related shootings and the resulting formation of the Black Lives Matter movement are a good example of how civil rights claims emerge. What sorts of factors emerge, kind of contributed to these kinds of confrontations? Why do American police appear so frequently to resort to deadly force? And why so often are African Americans the targets? The shootings of Terrence Crutcher by Tulsa police officer Betty Shelby on September 16, 2016, kind of highlights again that this is something that can happen even here in Oklahoma, and actually happens quite a bit. The humanitarian crisis along the U.S.-Mexican border offers another situation that includes a significant potential for civil rights claims. Why are so many Mexicans and Central Americans coming to the border? Are the number of Mexicans and Central Americans coming to the border unprecedented? How is the situation different from previous kind of influxes of undocumented immigrants? President Trump has argued that building a wall along the border will resolve these issues. Do you agree? If so, on what basis? There are a lot of controversial issues that we can raise and discuss over the course of this week. Like last week, we just have the weekly forum and the quiz, so let's make sure we get our work done in a timely manner. If you have any questions, or if anything about the material in the chapter on civil rights confuses you, please don't hesitate to ask a question in the forum. Questions are part of the legitimate, contribution to a dialogue. So let's have a great week.